Car accident took 3 lives away. Later, a stranger brings forth a mysterious detail to everyone's notice. The pain of losing the person you love the most is unbearable, when we could never see them again and the end takes them away on a vulnerable path that has no U-turns, not even in nightmares. Anyone wants to think of it for their loved ones, but isn't that the bitter truth of life that every single person had to face? It's just a matter of time. Sooner or later, everyone has to face it. The thought of it is enough to scare the hell out of anyone. All it takes is a moment that turns life upside down. But as it is said, no matter what may come and go, life goes on. The life-altering day came and took everything away from 2 families until they got a mere hope to get back to normal lives. Does everyone get that hope? Or life seems to stop at that point forever? Do you believe in miracles, or are you one of those who give scientific, logical reasons behind everything? So whatever's your type, this story will leave you asking a lot of confusing questions. What happened on April 25, 2017 changed 2 families by ending some lives and destroying the rest? The days those seemed to start a new beginning soon. It totally messed up so many lives at the same time. Hannah Simmons, a 23-year-old, happening person from Gainesville, Georgia, whenever she spoke, she brought smiles to every face in the room. She was the type of girl who can make friends quickly and can keep that friendship going on for a really long time. For her, life was simple and she took it as it came. At this time, her life seemed simpler as everything was on track and going as per plan, but not for too long. A devastating turn was on the way that was going to take her down. In 2016, Hannah became a mother when she delivered a beautiful baby girl. Hannah named her Alana and spent most of her time to take care of her teeny tiny princess. Since the birth of her baby, she used to spend most of her time in caring for her. The days were passing by at a rapid pace for the next few months, until the baby was 9 months old. After that time was about to stop very soon. Hannah Simmons was in a relationship with a guy named Javante Hopkins, who was the father of Alana. Javante recently proposed to her, which Hannah replied with a yes. They were planning on marrying someday, but before that, they took another important step, which was moving in together. After Alana was born, they started staying together, a happy family that no longer going to stay the same ever again. Lauren Buteau was also from Gainesville, Georgia, and one of the closest people to Hannah and the one who accompanied her on that fateful day. I love you too, Mo, you're the best. Couldn't do this without you in my life. You have made everything so much better with you in my life. I wouldn't change you for the world. You make me want to do good. I love you, babe, reads one of Lauren's Facebook posts with the picture of her and Hannah. They grew up together as a family. Hannah and Lauren always called each other sisters, they were so close, recalls Wilson, Hannah's cousin. They were too good together that no one can tell if they were friends or blood relatives. Lauren Buteau had 2 children to take care of. Hannah, her bestie, used to babysit them for her, and so did Lauren. They had this understanding that everything among themselves. That's how friends are, right? You stand by them in times of need and they stand there for you. But April 25th, 2017 seemed to be wrong since morning, and what happened after made the day unforgettable for both of the ladies' families in the most miserable manner. She loved the TV show Dog the Bounty Hunter. As soon as she heard the music, she would get to the TV just to see it. It was the funniest thing you ever saw, Judy recalls her grandbaby's playful nature. When Alana was 9 months old, Hannah got to know that she was pregnant again, and she told her boyfriend, who was ready to take the responsibility of the new life that was about to be welcomed in the world. The problem wasn't whether they wanted to have another baby or not, but something more complicated than that. Alana was growing fast. Since she learned to crawl, she used to wriggle everywhere around the room. She wasn't ready to stay in one place at all. At this time, she needed to be watched all day and night long. Javante and Hannah used to look after the princess in shifts. The young family seemed already very busy, but the news of the new one coming was yet to be acknowledged. They were not rich enough to take care of 2 babies, but Hannah and Javante were ready to work hard to save enough for their future. They wanted to have this baby, whether it takes from them to work in double shifts. They were planning for a happy beginning without being aware of the reality that was never going to let this happen. Hannah told Lauren that she was pregnant, so she was overloaded with joy to hear the news, that they went out to celebrate it. Every day is a memorable one when you have a friend like Lauren on the side. They've been together for so long now that they knew each other's likes and dislikes and pros and cons. For the same reason, Hannah asked Lauren to accompany her that morning. Right after Hannah told the good news to her bestie, she asked her for a favor. She wanted her to come along with next Tuesday. Lauren, after looking if she has any other plans, said yes. They were to meet early morning, have breakfast together, and then get going. Sadly, they were never going to make it back home. On April 25, 2017, Hannah was supposed to visit the doctor for the regular checkup. She didn't miss any appointment as she never took anything lightly when it was about her kids. Same was with Lauren, so she understood her concern and instantly agreed. Javante had to go to work and he couldn't make it to the clinic with them, and the heartbreaking day was nowhere. Since morning, Hannah was getting a strong feeling that something wasn't right about this day. She even shared her concern with Lauren, who gave her an option to skip the appointment for the day and fix it for 1 or 2 days later. Hannah thought that she might be feeling a bit nervous because of the prenatal checkup. This made her more cautious to meet the doctor on that very date. The plan for the day was Hannah will get her checkup done. Meanwhile, Lauren will look after her daughter, Alana. The day came and Hannah met her bestie on time. They had breakfast together, and now was the time to decide the route to the hospital that was located in Hall County. As the appointment was of early morning, they reached on time. Everything came out as normal in the regular test. On her way back home was the end waiting for them. By the time they were to return home, it was already the office hours and the traffic on the road were multiplied. Hannah didn't feel like going from the busy, crowded road, but had no other choice. She took to Georgia Highway 347, doubting her decision, as the expected traffic was too much and they needed to get home. Hannah was on the driver's seat while Lauren was watching after Alana. Highways are the only place where you aren't really supposed to slow down. Hannah was driving at a fine speed, and it took just one moment to lose control. On the way, Hannah lost control of her car. As per Georgia State Patrol, the car broke in through the median and spun to the opposite lane where a white truck hit the car. It happened so instantly that the truck driver was unable to put on the brakes. She was driving a Subaru Legacy that was completely smashed during the accident. In the tragic accident, Hannah and Lauren died on the spot. An infant who was yet to be brought into this world died without taking its first breath. 2 mothers were gone far off from their families in no time. Baby Alana's pulse rate was falling when she was immediately taken to the hospital. Baby Alana couldn't fight for her life for too long and died at the hospital on the same day. Both families were still in disbelief. Lauren's kids weren't yet told that they will never see their mother again. The truck driver, on the other hand, was still alive. The truck driver was the only one to survive the accident with no injuries at all, not even a scratch. This might be because he was riding a sturdy truck, which was damaged but not too much. Hannah's and Lauren's families were drowning in the ocean of grief and sorrow, but hope was on its way for the poor families. The local news channels wanted to hear from Hannah and Lauren's family. No close relatives or friends were able to speak up. Their partners and parents didn't see any reason to go on living. Who knew that help was on its way from a stranger? The highway was closed off for a while after the accident that day, which resulted in huge traffic. Almost everyone was out of their cars trying to understand what had just happened. In the crowd, there was a stranger who was about to become the only source of hope in the lives of Hannah and Lauren's families, unknowingly. Around a week after the disheartening accident took place, Hannah's mother, Judy Simmons, received a phone call. A person told her that there's something she should see related to the dark date. She was in doubts about who was this person and what was going on. Hannah's mother didn't find the call suspicious at all, as she was having a hard time dealing with the truth that her daughter's gone forever. She knew that nothing can bring her back, but her absence was making it intolerable for her. She wanted to know anything and everything related to her daughter. The 19-year-old Anissa Gannon was among the crowd that day. When she got to know that the traffic jam is because of an accident and it will take a bit longer, she understood that she's going to be quite late for her office. Her personal concern was soon to reveal the strangest thing of all. Anissa was new to her job and was late a few more times in the past. This time she was afraid of being late, as her manager would think that she's giving excuses. She wanted to prove to him that it wasn't her lousy reason again. So Anissa went on to click a picture of the traffic, as well as the place where the accident took place. Well, she was able to prove herself right at the office that day. For the next few days, she didn't go through her phone's gallery and didn't get enough time to look at the screen images again. Later, when she checked her phone, she noticed something incredible. It was in the photo, something clearly strange and quite visible to be noticed. At first, Anisse thought it could be the reflection on her windshield or an error in the photo. But that wasn't it. She checked it herself and she knew there was nothing to be reflected there while the photo was clicked. Hence, she took her aunt's advice. Tara Noble, Anissa's aunt, was the one whom she approached in the confusing hour. Anise told her how she clicked the photo right after the accident took place and how she can't make sense of what was in the picture. Tara had a simple explanation for the photo. She just said, "It looks like a pathway to heaven." Was it? It was unusual that she clicked quite a number of pictures at the same time, but only one of those pictures showed this. In all the photos, the paramedics could be seen everywhere. The same was with particular photo. It was a ray of light, a weird glare, but if we explained it in exact words, it wasn't just a glare but a straight line of light starting from the sky and falling right at the place of the accident. It looked like it was an orb-like shape from the inside. Tara, Anise's aunt, wanted this photo to be shared with the family members of the people who died in the incident because she strongly believed that there was more than just a coincidence. She said, "I don't believe in coincidences, especially the two lights inside that bigger light. It brought the families peace. Whether it's a glare or not," she said, "it's indescribable, basically, and it does look like them leaving." The loss of her daughter as well as her granddaughter was just too much for Judy, Hannah's mother, to take. She met Anise Gannon, who showed her the picture of that day. The image won't change anything, but as Judy said, "I just needed something to show me that they were in heaven and that they were okay, and that was my confirmation." Judy wasn't the only one. Someone else needed to see this image, just as much as Hannah does. "That picture was taken for a reason, to give me sanity. Hannah was also my best friend, and she's looking down from heaven now," said Judy, who was now looking for a reason to live. She got what she needed the most at this point in time, but Dana, Lauren's mother, was still messed up. Dana, Lauren's mother, broke into tears when she looked at the picture and said, "I can't explain the feeling that came over me when I saw it. It was like watching them ascend to heaven. This wasn't all for them, as they were yet to get more support." Lauren left her 5-year-old daughter, Anaya, behind. Her aunt, Jody Carter, took the responsibility to take care of her. The daughter, who wasn't aware of what happened to her mother. This was all stressing for Jody, but the photo gave her purpose. Later on, when the news spread, the Fox channel interviewed Jody Carter. Lauren's aunt, who got a printout of the photo, also got it framed. She said, "I opened the photo and my mouth hung wide open. It took my breath away. I was in pretty bad shape, but now I know where she is." For her, the orb and beam had a meaning. "I see God taking them up to heaven. Their spirits, their orbs are up there. No other explanation." The photo has a significance for the people who shared their most memories with Hannah and Lauren, but it also helped them in the most unexpected way. The story of this photo was into many people's knowledge now. While people were commenting on this photo, Javante was having a hard time collecting money for Hannah and Alana's funeral. As people got to know about this, they created a fundraising campaign to help Javante with funeral costs. As the media was covering this news from the very beginning, people too started feeling connected with all that was happening. Huge support from people came in, and the funeral was completed without any obstacles. The impact of this photo was much more than just financial benefit. This photo gave the Simmons, as well as the Buteaus, an internal peace that their loved one left them to be at a better place. They had a hard time moving on, but looking at this picture every day helped them a lot in moving on with life. Although science might have explanations for everything, the two families tend to ignore. Javante is now trying to start a new life. His fiancée and daughter's place can never be replaced, but he is living with the hope of seeing them in a different world someday. Even he doesn't believe in scientific explanations when it comes to this image, as it is now closest to his heart.